All right, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to J Champions Conference 2026. Whether you're joining us live or watching the recording later, it's great to have you here. My name is Johannes, and I'll be moderating this session. If you're watching live, feel free to post your questions in the chat at any time. I'll keep an eye on them and relay them as many as we can to Richard during the session or at the end. I'm very excited to announce Richard Fichtner, a Java champion, longtime Java developer, and a colleague of mine. Richard is principal software architect and CEO at XDev Software with over 20 years of experience modernizing real-world Java applications. He's deeply involved in the Java community, leading Chuck Oberpfalz and co-organizing JCon conferences in Cologne. He's also been recognized as an Oracle Ace Pro, IBM champion, and Vaadin champion. And with that, I can finally hand over to the actual speaker. Richard, thanks for being here. Let's see how we can breathe new life into Java code bases without breaking the bank.
Awesome. Thank you, Johannes, for the kind and warm introduction. And also thank you for providing the sound effects to this show. Okay, now sit down, everybody. It's about to start. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank also Ken Vogel and the team for putting on the J Champions Conference. Putting on conferences is hard work. And so thank you, Ken, and all the folks involved here for making this possible. But to the topic, let's talk about Java modernization. And off we go. So I like to start this with a story from a friend of mine who used to travel to Asia a lot for work, and he always brought back like news and philosophies and stuff that you learn when you're on the road and traveling. And we were talking, and at one point he said, brought up this quote: "So the things you own end up owning you." And I feel like with software, this is something that resonates with a lot of people. First, you have it, and then it has you. And so we are on the journey of modernizing things. And I felt deeply touched by this quote. And then I found out that this quote is from Fight Club. So whatever speaks more to you, Fight Club or some ancient wisdom, that's up to you. But let's see how we can end up on the other thing, on the other side of things, where we take back the control of the things we created in the first place. Before we go into the topic more deeply, I like to distinguish between technical debt and skipped updates, because for me, they sometimes they have something in similar, but most of the time, technical debt is something that you do more or less willingly, where you make a trade-off and you say, okay, let's implement this, and we know that it's not gonna look pretty or put on some drawbacks, but we need to get moving. Okay, skipped updates or maintenance that you don't do is most of the time not a conscious choice. This creeps up on you, and before you know it, 10 years are gone, and you think, okay, we should update Java once more. So maybe that's a little bit different. So maybe you can distinguish this, and once you've got a grasp of what you want to do, get rid of the only technical debt, or if you want to finally get to do some updates and reduce your technical debt with that, the question is always, what should we do? And this is where people grow irritated, because they don't know what the plan could be, and they don't know which way to go. And oftentimes we face a situation where we come up with the best solution ever: rewrite everything, because who needs all of this old stuff, right? But modernization is not only rewriting stuff. Most of the time, it's not feasible from an economical standpoint to rewrite everything. And also there is wisdom in the software that nobody has documented, and then you rewrite it, and those rules are lost somewhere. And projects or initiatives to modernize software, they fail because of these things. And so in this talk, I want to focus on things that you can do to modernize, which means you keep most of the software that you have and put it in a little bit different place where it's more fun, cheaper to work on, and maybe this helps you out. And I already got an awesome introduction from Johannes here, so I'm not going to go deeper into this, but let me say I run a software business here in Bavaria, Germany, which is called XDev. We're building Java tools for over 20 years and do consulting work for a bunch of folks. And if you like to have some help with modernizing your Java applications, give us a call and or email or whatever, and we will be glad to help you with this. So where we need to start from the perspective of Java is that a lot of stuff changed. So saying you're on Java 8, I get this. A lot of people are stuck on Java 8, or even before that. Nobody's judging, but you're gonna have a hard time talking to other folks about this because there's not much left to talk about. So what changed? We had some nice slow Java updates in the past, so it was very comfy for us, so not much to do. And so every like 3-4 years there was a new Java version, had a lot of features, then you had to do a little bit of work, and then you could go back to sleep. But that changed, fortunately. So we have a more rigid release cadence. So first we had so we have every 6 months is a new Java release, and then you get special releases that receive commercial support. I recently learned we cannot say that these are LTS releases per se, but there is some releases that is smart to be on. And one of these releases, for example, is Java 17, 21, 25, and so on. So there's a bunch of good ones that you should have an eye on. And if you need more help to decide on which Java version you should pick for your app, or which should be your target at this point, there is a nice website called the Java Almanac. And let me show this real quick here. It has a lot of information in a different form on changes to the Java platform or the language. And let's say you're targeting Java 25. So you have in your mind, I want to go to 25. Let's see what impact that has on my app. So you can go here in the line of in the row of 25 and go to, let's say, 21 because you're on 21. So you can click that and you get a nice list of changes. And we do a lot of swing stuff. So you can search for swing and you can see, okay, this is something I should have a look on because I want to work on a swing app. So you see there is still changes to swing stuff. So there is a bunch more information there. You have the link, you know what to do. Okay. So now that you know around what changed, you might not be able to change stuff because sometimes you're not allowed to change code. So in the first section of this talk, I want to target things you can do if you can't touch the code. And if you ask yourself, why can't I touch the code? I'm a developer. You're in a good situation because you can touch the code. Sometimes there is apps that you inherited, or the project manager or whatever, they don't want to have changes because they are uncertain. There is not enough test coverage, stuff like that. So there is things you can still do to modernize your Java application and make it run better or well. There is also a bunch of JDKs you can use, and if you know which runtime you're using in addition to your JDK, that's perfect. Sometimes people know that. That is a good thing. If you don't know it, it's also a good thing because it means it just works and you don't care. But seriously, you should have a look and see what you are running on. And there is no right answer, but there is opinions. And there is a website that has a lot of opinions on that, not by me. I will share my own opinions in a second. And the website is called whichjdk.com. Let me show you that. And it's a fairly simple website. It has a few informations here up here, and then down here it lists a bunch of options that you have. And then it also has a bunch of opinions on that options. And let me pick a few. So, for example, there is a JDK from Azul, which I like very much when we do, for example, JavaFX stuff, because they bundle JavaFX. So this is a good idea to use that. And when you're using JavaFX, of course, they have other fancy things. Everybody has a little bit of fancy things. And there is one by IBM, which is a little bit different. Most of them use the JVM that comes with also Temurin, which is hotspot based, but they have their own. So this is something that not everybody has. IBM has their own OpenJ9 JVM, which has different runtime characteristics. We will talk about this a little bit later on. And there is Amazon Corretto, of course, which could be a good choice if you are running your workload on AWS and you want to have the same on your machine. That could be a good choice. Not saying that you cannot run Temurin or something else on AWS, but maybe that's something you want to consider. Microsoft, Alibaba, and there's a bunch more. There's one more is GraalVM, and we will talk about GraalVM in a second, which is also very different from the other ones. But there is a bunch of things you can try, and basically you can just use your app and test it there, see if it works, and you might have very different runtime characteristics without changing any code. And to be very clear, you don't have to run your Java program with, for example, Java 8. You compile it with Java 8. You don't have to run it with Java 8. You can run it with a more advanced JDK. You should, of course, always test, but this also can give you some improvements here. Okay, let's talk about startup. Some people have startup issues. Their app is slow at startup, and we can fix this. And there is a nice graphic from Holly Cummins. Holly will be up next here on the J Champions Conference. So if you stick around for a few more minutes, she will come on and talk about Quarkus. And this is something that she posted a while ago, and it shows different startup times for Quarkus and other apps. And as you can see, you can do a lot if you pick the right tech. You can do a lot to make it start very, 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 very fast. And all the way on the left here where it says Quarkus native, this is something that is done with a GraalVM developed by Oracle. And this is a fantastic thing because it shows that Java is not that. Java is awesome. You can write basically your Java code from 1995 and have a super performant thing if you compile it, for example, with GraalVM. So what does GraalVM do? Especially native image. There is other features in GraalVM, but I just want to touch on native image. Native image compiles your Java source code to something that is native. So basically like a C program, there is no JVM anymore. And this gives you a very small footprint with this ahead of time compilation. So usually if you start a Java application, the JVM and everything, and you have like a bunch of megabytes, like 120 or something that you use on the memory side, and this gives you something that uses maybe 25, 20, depending on what you do, which is awesome. And you got a very fast startup. And I will talk about this in a minute, a little bit more. But this is nice because this gives you, for example, if you do something like a CLI where you basically start up the application every time, or you have microservices or something like that, you get a startup that is very, very fast. So this could be something you can look into. There is some restrictions on what you can use in terms of reflection and some other things, but yeah, you can figure that out. And it's awesome. It's awesome tech. So there is, of course, because we are in the Java world, there is another way to do this, and this is something that is also is a fantastic advantage of Java and also a big drawback, because you have to decide. So in Germany we say you have the burden of the decision that you have to make, but again you have a decision to make, which is great in my opinion, because there is another solution you can use that is that I will share in a second. First, talk about this. We have the JVM startup, and the JVM does a lot of things behind the scenes to make your app run smooth. And if you don't use GraalVM, this native image, or if you don't use another technique, it will take a little bit of time before your JVM is warm. This is called warm up, and then there is some compilation going on and some checking what is the app really doing. And this is really cool because this makes it work with your app, and if your app behaves differently, it can see, hey, I have to compile this a little bit better, I can spend some time here, and then you have a smooth running app. Okay, but the startup, you sacrifice something, you don't get this for free. And so with this ahead of time compilation, you can start basically with defined performance already, and then there is a guided phase where you can run your app during the compilation process, and it will look at your app and see, do some profiling, hey, where I need to optimize, and then you have that. So and then you set it in stone and run your app, and you lose basically the feature that it will look at your app all during runtime and optimize all the time. So there is drawbacks also, of course. So you can use this native image, or you can use something like Cryo, which is basically taking a snapshot. And this has some advantages. So you get a real warm JVM with all the features, so no restrictions on monitoring the JIT. We already talked about this, and reflection. And there is these snapshot features from Linux that is used to do this. So it's basically something like Docker, where you have containers in Linux, and then you have basically snapshotting a process and restoring it. There's some magic you have to do behind the scenes. Of course, if you know how it works, it's not magic, but there is some random number generators you need to reseed, and there is some, if you have network connections open, stuff like that. But there is solutions, and there is some vendors, for example, Azul and also IBM with the OpenJ9 and the OpenLiberty, that have like features that allow you to do that. You can go and check this out, and then you can have the snapshot and start with a warm JVM, which is cool. So the first run looks like this, and the second run is basically you start off very, very gracefully. Then the other thing you can tune is garbage collections. I stole the slides from Garrett. One of the best talks in the Java world, I think, is Trash Talk. If you haven't seen it, go, and it's on YouTube. Check it out by Garrett. It's a full session on garbage collection, and Garrett has some really cool graphics to explain this. I just want to touch lightly on it, so you can go and learn deeper from his very, very good talk about this. So there's a bunch of garbage collectors out there. This is a nice table that also Garrett made. Not every JDK and every version of Java has the same. They are like when you listen to the Oracle folks, they're always talking about something fancy garbage collection stuff. So there is a lot of cool things going on in the new garbage collectors. They make Java very, very performant, and yeah. You see, there is different things to look at, and it might differ for your app very, very highly. What you want to use, or what's good for you might not good for the next app. Garrett gives a basic comparison where you can start your journey. So you can see what kind of runtime overhead do you want to have, and what pause times you are willing to accept. And this could be, again, very different for different apps. So sometimes you say, okay, I'm super fine with pause times, but I need all the power because nobody's waiting for that. Like in a sense that some things change. If you're in banking and trading, stuff like that, you might not want to have pause times. So because maybe the price is different and you lose a lot of money. So yeah, be careful with that. With that, the other thing we had basically garbage collection, and then you can produce less garbage in the first place. And something that we found helpful is OpenJ9. They use a different memory model, which can give you different results. Of course, this is marketing material from the J9 website, and you should try it yourself and see what it does for you. There are situations where this has a very good impact, where you can have like 40% less memory usage, which is a lot of money if you have a bunch of servers running. This could be very good. could be very different for you in your case. But you could have a look at this, just like it's an hour of work or so. Change the Docker image, use one that has OpenJ9, run your tests on it, see how it performs. If it's really good, you can spend more time. If it's not working for you, you just discard it and you wasted an hour. Okay, so might be very beneficial. You made it to the point where we want to touch code and require code changes. So let's do that. And the first thing I want to highlight is, of course, virtual threads. I think you've seen, if you followed the conference here, a bunch of things about virtual threads. If you haven't, you should really look into it. It's awesome. Virtual threads give you basically reactive programming without doing reactive programming. So if you have an application that has a lot of I/O going on, so logging, file access, databases, network calls, REST services, stuff like that. These days, of course, calling some AI model stuff. This is basically all I/O, and yeah, then you're in the business of virtual threads. So they are not a silver bullet. So if you do something that is very CPU intensive, might not help you at all. So again, test it and see what comes out the other end. What I like is you can use the imperative programming model. So that's what we've basically been doing since 1995. It's the same thing. No reactive stuff. I hate reactive stuff. So very opinionated, but this is easier to do it. It's easier to maintain, easier to write, understand, and most of all, debug. Debugging reactive code is my personal hell, so I don't like it. This is heaven for me. Awesome. And of course, this also gives me the freedom to not have any uni, mono, whatever they are called, classes in my business logic. I feel like this is not a good idea to have these technical concerns in there, and having those business logic or domain classes free of these things gives me a lot of peace of mind. Also good, you don't need these external APIs, at least for this aspect of your program. Having less external APIs is always good, because it reduces your attack surface and also decreases your maintenance load. If you just update Java and have all the maintenance you need, perfect. No external APIs, that's good. And something that I like very much, and I feel like that's really an accomplishment of the Java ecosystem, that this is compatible with the existing thread API. So if you have existing code, you can just really easy have virtual threads. Let's have a look. Okay, so you have this stupid program. Don't worry what it does. I just want to show you that you can just have this new line and replace the line above and say, I just want to have an executor, new virtual thread per executor, per task executor. And this is the only change you might wanna you might need to do. So that's it. And then you have an app that runs maybe very, very fast. And of course, similar changes can be done to frameworks like Spring, where you set a configuration where behind the scenes it would do something similar, and it would use virtual threads instead of like thread pools, the usual or the old way. There's a lot of more important changes or features, and of course, there's smart books about it. Venkat wrote a very nice book about it. In sailing along or cruising along with Java. Let me pick Cruising Along with Java. It's a great book. I have it, and it's a great place to start if you want to learn what new features have emerged and how to use them and to reduce your technical debt, modernize your code. It's awesome, and it's so much great stuff in there. Total recommendation. And also my affiliate links for Amazon are in the video description. Oh no, Ken forbid me to do that. Okay, no affiliate links for me this time.
1 second.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Johannes. Okay. A little bit of fun. Okay, let's talk about the most important part of this presentation, and it's people. My friend Shar always says people first, technology second, and I fully agree. That's why I do a lot of community work, because community work in the tech space is not about like tech; it's about people. And if you don't have the people that want to do it and they are on board, no technology ever will save you. And I know this gives me bad street rep with the Terminators, but hey, I like people, so okay, let's do this. So, what to watch out for when you do software stack modernization? You don't want your people, your developer, feel like this what you're doing now is this dismissal of everything they built and learned. So let's picture this. You have some folks that have been with the project for a long time. They have their knowledge. They know they can do the stuff that needs to be done. And now you say, oh, no Java 8 anymore. Let's do everything with 25. And they go, oh, virtual threads and records and whatever. Yeah. So you gotta bring them along on the journey. And these anxiety over new tools, they need a safe space to try those things out and fail. Because once you see something new, you want to try it out. And of course, you shouldn't do it on production like the first day you do it. Okay, everything goes to records now, and maybe try it in a safe space first. But you need a little bit of time. So give this to the people. And then also there is the thing called imposter syndrome, which basically means people think they don't know enough to do a good job or to perform a certain task, even though they definitely do. And this is something that we see most often for experienced team members. So you have somebody who is young and they think they know everything, and they don't even think about like the implications, what could go wrong, or or how they failed before or something like that. They say, oh, let's do it, which is a great trait. But yeah, you don't get imposter syndrome from that. And people always look for like younger people that maybe more Dunning-Kruger stuff. But yeah, look out for your more experienced team members. They might not be so comfortable telling you that they don't feel so safe with this new stuff that is coming along. As I said, we had a very smooth ride with Java back in the day, where you only had like 4, 5, 6 years for a new Java release. Could be difficult to tackle that. So don't make those people feel replaceable. Make them part of the journey. Explain what's gonna happen, and of course, maybe you wanna buddy them up with somebody. There's an important quote I like to show here. No system starts out as a legacy system; it becomes one by surviving. And oftentimes, people that maintain these legacy systems and don't work on the newest, shiniest thing of the company, they feel like they did something wrong. And I would say they did not. They did something very right, because if the system is still there and yeah, it's legacy, yeah, of course. It wouldn't be there if the company wouldn't have a need for it. So it might be legacy. It doesn't have to be. And the other one is you don't burn down your house just because the kitchen is outdated. So yeah, you don't want to do that. Just get a new kitchen. That would be the right thing to do. And how do we tackle this? So we upgrade the developer experience first. So first improve DX, give faster builds, better Maven setups. That will help a lot. And then, of course, you can do local Docker container dev environments. And this gets even more interesting with all the AI stuff that comes now. So once we were very comfortable with having everything in containers, so you could have a local dev environment. So this would be something that was very achievable at this point. And yeah, these days with all the AI stuff, this is getting more complicated. Okay. And have clear MD and README MDs and Maven goals for your tasks. I have more audience here on my desk, and I have to get the audience out. Give me a second for that. That's the life when you have kids in the house. But again, I learned my lesson. I still wear pants for these things, so I feel pretty confident. Johannes, where's the drums?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Johannes is asleep. Thank you. Also, you have to have a body, and let's talk about the body experience. No, I was lied. Okay, kid got me confused. Don't worry about this. So, what you want to do is you want to stay up to date. Go to conferences. You're in the right place. You are watching this maybe on YouTube, so you almost did it right. Nothing against online conferences, but you should go to conferences with real people. As I said, I like people, and as a small giveaway, we have a bunch of free tickets that we put behind this QR code, and also gives all your money to my bank account. Yes, this QR code gives you free tickets to JCon in Cologne. JCon Europe is a great community conference, has also great content, but even better, it has a lot of great people that you can meet and can talk to. And so if you want to stay up to date, talk with people, because I find talking to the people that work on Java, work on the frameworks that we use every day, that helps a lot to stay ahead of the curve. There is also a bunch of great blogs. This one from Markus Eisele, I like a lot. There is, of course, others. There is inside.java and dev.java, which are great resources if you are wanting to evolve your Java game. They are made by the Java DevRel team at Oracle. They have the most like up-to-date stuff on there. There's also like a play section, a playground section where you can test out Java code, so you don't have to do it in production. So it's really cool. And then of course go to meetups and jugs. And I have a nice jug map here from jugs around the world. As you can see, there is jugs everywhere, and especially in the DACH area where I'm from, there is a bunch of jugs. And I researched this, and I found that there is the most density of Java user groups, and I think this is a German thing. Germans like to be in clubs, so yeah, a lot of Java user groups. Java user groups are the number one thing where you can hang out, talk to people, and find like new ways to solve problems, also connect. And like if you partner at home, you're coming home from work or leave your home office or whatever you do these days, and you want to talk about stuff from Java work, and they don't want to hear about it anymore, a jug could be something that could save like your relationship or something. Maybe that's a great way to do it, and to do something for your family. And of course, talking about modernization, there is a cool thing called OpenRewrite. If you haven't heard about it, I think it's a game changer. What is OpenRewrite? Let me just show you first what it can help you with. So let's say you want to go from JUnit 4 to 5, and I know there is 6 coming, so you have to do a lot more work. There is some changes. You need to get rid of this from this annotation. There is stuff you need to get rid of it. It's done in a different way. Now it's in this lambda expression here. So this is basically like for this one change that they did, this is what you have to do to your code base, okay? And this looks like something you can automate. And I don't want to talk about AI at this point. We will talk about AI a little bit later, but this is not AI. This is rule-based, which I like. And how do they do it? So it's basically a visitor pattern. So it goes through your code, looks at all of your files, finds out about the things that's going on, and then applies these recipes, these patterns to your code. And it does this on a lossless semantic tree. And this is something really amazing. So this is much more than just like a text-based search where you could have like you search for a variable or something, and then it picks something that is like in another method, not the same thing or something. It's not perfect. And then you have this abstract syntax tree. This is something we used back in the day when we were like building syntax highlighting and stuff like that, and code completion into IDEs. And then there is this absolute monster of data. It's the lossless semantic tree. So there's everything in it. There is not only like in it what method is it or what class it is calling. It's do you have white space or something like that where people freak out if you like do not preserve their format or something. And it has all that. So it gives you the ability to basically refactor your code without destroying everything that you have, and not only make it like machine readable but also for humans. And so it understands your code into depth. So it builds a really big graph of everything that's going on, and then as you can see, it checks all the packages, imports everything, like what is the field access, what is going on, and then you can work on this. And let me give you a few examples what you can do. So for example, you could automatically fix all your check style violations. Wouldn't that be a breeze? Oh, awesome. Yeah, 17,000 check style violations in this project. Gone. Okay, might not work for everything, but let's say if you only have like 10 left, it might be good. Okay, then of course you can migrate to Java 17, for example. There is different recipes, of course, for 25 and stuff like that, but here I have a nice comparison. You can see the code before, the code after, and there might be changes not only in like what the code looks like. So if you look at these constructors for these types, for example, for a byte or double or whatever, here there could be a different runtime characteristic behind these things, because as you can imagine, you could cache stuff if you use this value of. If you use new, you might not be able to cache it. So it could have an impact changing that. It's not only for the looks, it could also have an impact on how your program runs. Then, of course, migrating to 25. And there is some nice stuff. So before that, it might look like this. And this is not done by AI. This is rule-based, so it's deterministic. So that's what I like so much about it. And then gives you, hey, this could look like this. This is nice. Way better. And then it gives you other stuff. So security manager is something that's gone away. So it gives you this and gives you a nice comment, which I like that this rule also puts in a comment. And it's the same comment every time. It's not AI stuff where it gives you a different comment or something. And then, of course, you can pick your framework. And there is something like new on the horizon, which is called stack fluidity. So which it basically means you have basically all your apps, let's say, in Spring Boot. And then maybe the company gets acquired by a different company and they want to have everything in Quarkus. So you could move the Spring Boot applications to Quarkus or vice versa. And so this could make a lot of sense if you want to like go to a path where all of your maintenance is a lot easier. So you could specialize a team, for example, with Quarkus, and then get rid of the Spring Boot like 10 apps that you bought in with Spring Boot. So this could make totally sense from an economical standpoint. There is a bunch of recipes online. You can write your own. You can buy them. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So yeah, go wild. And when I first saw this, I looked at the list and thought to myself, oh, this is amazing. This makes maintaining stuff so much easier. So go ahead and do it. And then, of course, fun fact, there is an OpenRewrite plugin for IntelliJ written by XF, and it was the first one, even before there was an official one by IntelliJ or JetBrains. And we're super proud that we had that, because we believed early on that this is a great way to do it. And then, of course, we have to talk about AI. How could we not talk about AI? So there is a bunch of stuff you can do with AI, of course, from bigger and smaller players. There is GitHub. There is watsonx Code Assistant. These days, they name it Bob. So if you go to IBM and look for IBM Project Bob, they help you modernize stuff with AI. But please check if you can use AI first. Here in Germany, that's a big topic with data protection stuff going on. If you are somewhere where there's more liberal, go ahead, have fun, but check if your customers or your your boss likes it, and then go wild, do stuff. I don't like it too much because most of the time we have some troubles with clients that have, let's say, reservations about this. And so we have to come up with a smarter way to do this. And one smart way to do this is to use AI to build OpenRewrite recipes, and then never use AI on the cloud on the code base of the customer. Only use the OpenRewrite recipe, which is deterministic and which does not leak any data. So this could be a nice workaround to modernize something where there is no recipe from OpenRewrite, or where you can find it, but you can build one basically with AI and use that then. Okay, let's move on to the last section. So for you, a little quiz. If you remember all of these people in this picture, yeah, you had a good music time, right? Okay. So I know everybody, of course, but okay, maybe you do too. So if you do, you might also know these apps. So I really like Swing. Little fun fact, the IDE that a lot of folks use, JetBrains IntelliJ, is built with Swing, which is a great way to build applications, I think, but most of the world does not think that way. So we have to replace this with something that looks a little bit more like this. Not saying that you can't do this with Swing. You can make Swing look like this way, but usually people don't want to have a fat client for their business app. They want something that runs in a browser. There are good arguments for that, but sometimes a fat client could be a nice thing. For example, streaming this in a browser feels weird. I would rather have a client here running this streaming thing, but yeah, I don't want to jinx it. It still works. So yeah. Okay, but let's talk about this. You want to go from for your Swing application to a browser app, and you can do it. There is a great open source framework called Vaadin, which is awesome. And Vaadin gives you the ability to have a modern Java web application where you don't need to write HTML, JavaScript, React, Angular, whatever you name it. Of course, if you have the skills, you can still do stuff like that. But from a like maintenance side of things, it could be pretty cool to have just the Java developers, maybe a design team that helps a little bit with the colors and everything, and then you can have this. So how this works is, again, this is something very similar with Java. People maybe have heard about Vaadin in the past and say, oh, this has something to do with GWT or GWT or Google Web Toolkit. Not anymore. So, and there were a lot of people that had reservations against this, but it's not anymore about this. It's now all standard web components. So you got standardized components in the front end that talk to your backend, to your Java backend, which is awesome. So this is basically what Vaadin gives you. They give you a set of very good components. You can have your own components, of course, and you can develop them and you can integrate them into the framework. But it's awesome. You got standard there, and you get standard Java in the backend. So you have a fully standardized stack with like the best situation where you want to have an application that has a long lifetime, because usually when you modernize something that is like 10, 15, 20, even older, you're not doing it to last 5 more years or something. You want something that lasts. And so this is really great. How does the code look? This is Java Swing code. If you still know this, it's awesome. And let me show you, this is the Vaadin code for it. So again, this is very, very similar. Of course, this is a fabricated example. Might look a little bit different, but you get the gist. It's about that it's easy to move. If you have Swing developers, you can easily move over and have them develop this. And again, of course, there's automation. so the framework is open source, but Vaadin has to make some money. Of course, everybody has to make some money. They offer special tooling that you can use where you can automatically migrate your Swing app to Vaadin with the Dragonfly transpiler. And this is awesome. So again, for me, a testament for Java. So you build your Java Swing app and you're not stuck there. There is a good solution where you can move on. So as you can tell by now, I'm a big Java fan. And we also contributed to the Vaadin ecosystem. There is a bunch of components. So if you need a map component that does not use Google Maps, for example, but something that is based on OpenStreetMap, we have a Leaflet plugin. Again, in Europe or Germany, this is very high in demand because data protection stuff and Google and stuff. And then there's a bunch of other components that we have for Vaadin. There's a bunch of components that we have also for Spring that have some touch points with Vaadin, but also for Spring security. We usually, when we help customers, we ask them if we can open source things that we found. And sometimes these get reintegrated into Spring, to Vaadin, whatever, which is great because then, again, you don't have to maintain this stuff. And this is also, again, a testament to open source and also to the Java ecosystem, where you help a customer, you build it, then they have like a maintenance burden, but then again, it's open source and this gets reabsorbed into the framework, and then the maintenance burden is on the framework. They will maintain it, which is great. And then, you basically have like a framework dependency, but not too much. And then, of course, we have some IntelliJ plugins that we maintain or that we've written. So the PMD plugin, the people that maintain it didn't do it anymore, so we stepped in. This is working now. We need this to have good, clean code practices. Then, of course, there is other things, and I really like the Safe Actions plugin. I'm a big Eclipse IDE fan, so something that I really missed in IntelliJ was Safe Actions, and we have this now, which is awesome. And then, of course, the Maven Music plugin. This is a fun thing. If you want to play music during your Maven builds, go ahead. Use this nice plugin and you can play any music you like. And it's fun because, if you play the right music, for example, country music, people will help you in the office. And this is always a great thing. That's awesome. And then last but not least, something fun. If you go to conferences where we are, you can get our XF commit cards. And Johannes, who does my really nice sound effects here, is the father of the commit cards. So the idea is to have some cards where there is some clean code practices on the card. And you can just mix the cards, shuffle them, and then before you commit, you look on the card and see if the clean code practice is reflected in your code, and you might want to change something. Come to JCon, for example, and get a bunch of these for yourself, or write us an email. We're trying to sell them on Amazon, so maybe you can get them on Amazon. Not yet, but write us, and we'll give you stuff. Or come to JCon with this nice code. With this being said, I think we're done. Johannes, how do we do on the questions?
Well, there was quite a bit of a chatter, but there weren't that many questions really. I think what I found, the most important question for me comes from Francois, who asked, why are there no country singers in your graphic?
That's a very, very good question. I don't want to piss off people too hard all the time. So maybe next time. But that's a good improvement. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
the second
Francois.
one comes from Johan. He wanted to know, 1 second. Yeah, here it is. Isn't Java 17 also running out of normal support later this year?
Oh, I don't know, but I have to look this up, but it depends what you buy. So the thing is, you can buy from different vendors, different support windows, and there is folks that, of course, still support Java 6 and 7 and 8 and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe again, that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because this shows that Java is very reliable. It's a bad thing because people can always go, oh, let's throw some money at the problem and stick with our Java 6 app or something. So yeah.
All right.
Let me add one more thing. Usually the main problem is that Spring framework or some framework drops some support, and that really makes people move. Yeah, so yeah.
All right. And Francois also asked, and I don't know if that has any context. He just asked GWID. I don't know if it says anything to you. I don't know that.
GW what?
GWID.
Oh, can't make
Maybe
it out.
he can elaborate. Yeah, all right. Okay, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting for some answers.
I think we are like 30 seconds back on YouTube, so maybe take this.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Francois said he didn't understand what it was. So I guess you spoke about it, or
GWT, which is Google Web Toolkit. This was a transpiler where you could transpile Java to JavaScript.
Yeah. Okay. So it was probably just a misunderstanding. Yeah, but other than that, I don't see any questions directed at you because there were so much messages. All right, we can wait for a couple of seconds for additional questions. I certainly enjoyed your talk. Thank you very much. Maybe we can have other questions. Yeah, so I have one question. Looking back at all the projects that you have seen, what's one modernization decision you never regretted? Was there something that you stand 100% behind?
Like
always.
Basically upgrading every Java project. I never had for me, never was a bad experience. It was sometimes a lot of work when some like namespace changes or you had to do it, but then again, it was fun seeing the people working on a project having fun again and engaging in conversations, because before that they say, okay, why should I go to a Java conference? Nobody is talking about Java 8 anymore, and like they talking about records and stuff like that, I can't use it. And then those people are back in the game, and I totally understand this. So if I couldn't use all of the things that I saw, it would like it would give me bad feelings if I come home from a conference or go to a meetup or something. But yeah, I would always upgrade.
All right. Vaadin asked, when do we consider an app legacy?
That's a good question. I would say once you get a lot of warnings, and like you have to decide it for yourself, basically. But I would say at this point, if you're running Java 11, not the app is legacy, but hey, you should maybe do something because you can benefit from a lot of stuff that you're not benefiting from. And so I would upgrade, or something where you have maybe, let's say you using Spring Boot 2 or something. That doesn't sound too good to me. So you should upgrade. So it's very fluent when something is legacy. But in the end, it doesn't matter. We need, like, it's hard to have a term where you say, hey, you should do something about this app.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. There was nothing more. So I guess, yeah, thanks again for your insights. I hope everyone leaves today feeling inspired and ready to take at least one small step toward modernizing their Java code base. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Richard, do you have some last words?
See you in Cologne in April for JCon Europe. Have fun, guys.
Great. See you. Goodbye.